Back now in race for the White House, President Bush will address the nation tonight in another appeal for support for the bailout plan. Joining me now is Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary to George W. Bush, to President Bush. Ari, it's good to see you. I said we've gone one-on-one a few times before tonight.
We always used to, didn't we? You're taller than me. You always won.
I don't think so. Let me read a little news to you, Ari. This is from our political director, Chuck Todd. From a senior McCain advisor, if there is no deal before the debate is scheduled, they, meaning the McCain folks, are staying in Washington, period. That said, they're committed to having the first debate in Oxford, Mississippi, and committing to having all the debates in the cities as planned, even adding a town hall or two if Obama wants to do that as well. You heard from Senator Obama today, Ari, who said, look, a president's got to be able to multitask, got to be able to do more than one thing at once. Is this a good call? And I know you're a supporter of McCain, but I'm asking you to think about this more analytically as somebody who's been in these positions in a high-stakes campaign.
Well, Dave, one of the joys of being out is I do support John, but I don't have a stake in it other than who I support. I don't work for anybody. But I will tell you this. If this is the calamity that everybody tells us that it really is, then it does occur to me, both on substance and politics, it's the right move for John McCain to get back to Washington. Now, even though he is not going to be on a committee that makes something happen, the fact is, if he tells Republicans to be against this, it won't pass. If he tells them to get with it, it has a very good chance of passing. So the fact that he's in the mix, right in the middle of it, is a good thing for him, because the economy is something he's got to get taken head on and address.
Well, but that's the question, is how much control does he really have over the Republicans here? Yeah, if he says don't vote for this, he may have a willing audience there. But the truth is, he's been out here the last few days saying there's really not a no option here in this bill. And yet there's a lot of conservatives on Capitol Hill who say, no, we're not doing this. There's a huge ideological and philosophical split. There is not the kind of leverage. The president doesn't have the kind of leverage that he might have had earlier in his presidency.
David, that's right. And that's why the return of John McCain to Washington can actually be instrumental in getting this passed, because a lot of the room for rebellion will come from the conservative free market right. And John McCain is not exactly one of those people. But he does have the ability, as a standard bearer of the party this cycle, to influence those people in what could be, we don't know, a close vote. That's why he does have a significant role, and I think that's fair to say. Even though he won't write the legislation, he does have a significant role to play. And if this is the calamity that they're telling us, we were on the verge of bank runs, then all hands should be on deck.
The question is, again, from a political point of view, and obviously politics plays a role here because it will inure to his benefit potentially, or be a little too risky and not help him if it's seen otherwise. But from the point of view of substance and moving forward in this campaign, if you're John McCain and you're advising him, don't you want him to have a debate about foreign policy and international affairs when that's his strength right now?
Well, I think not this week. If that debate is on foreign policy on Friday night, it's almost like you tune into the Super Bowl and you watch a soccer match. You know, everybody is talking economics right now, and to all of a sudden switch for one Friday night to foreign policy, what it really means is foreign policy gets lost as a debating point in this campaign. It'll be a one night event, and then the next day everybody's right back to talking about the economy. So I prefer actually to switch the topic of the debate if it occurs on Friday and debate the economy.
You heard from Mike Murphy just a moment ago, who you remember well. He was on the other side of it in 2000. When he was running the McCain campaign, he made the observation that this decision and decisions by the McCain campaign of the last couple of weeks smacks more of a tactical approach to the campaign rather than a strategic one. Do you agree with that? And what is the impact of that ultimately?
Well, you know, I think John McCain's strategy has been much more revolved around his persona than of issues and policy. That's his strategy, that he has experience, he has judgment, he is a POW, not that he says that so overtly, but that he has been there and seen what it takes to get things done, and he's a maverick and knows how to reform the system. That's a much more individual type candidacy than a Ronald Reagan style ideological candidacy. And so there is a strategy there. There are also a series of tactics. Campaigns are always about tactics.
Is he a different guy than you campaigned against in 2000?
He is, David. I think in 2000, John McCain was pure 100% maverick. And I think the same thing would have happened to John McCain had he beat George Bush in 2000. John McCain would have, just by the weight of being the nominee, had to recalibrate who he is on some issues. The one issue, frankly, John McCain used to be against the tax cuts that President Bush passed and a bipartisan Congress supported. He said they were tax cuts for the rich. Now he's for them. He has recalibrated on some levels. But at his heart, the man still takes on the Republican establishment. He is a maverick. He is still a fighter pilot who largely does things to his own unconventional tune. That is the real John McCain.
All right, Ari Fleischer in New York tonight. Thanks very much, Ari. Good to see you.
David, great to be with you.